Welcome to Family Formations, daily devotions for you and your home during COVID-19. I just have maybe just a short thought for us today. It's not going to take long, but I think it's a really important reflection for us to make, and one for us to make not just once in our life, but for us to return to again and again and again. And so I'm going to read for us one of Jesus's shortest parables. Well, I think it has to be his shortest because it's only one verse long. It's found in Matthew 13. Here's what the parable says. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and covered up. Then in his joy, he goes and he sells all that he has and buys that field. Now, we can miss the point of this parable by asking the question, why in the world did he cover it up? And was he trying to not let other people see it or whatnot? And I think we miss what this parable has for us in large by going down that path. Here's the main point. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure. It's worthwhile, it's valuable, it's something to be desired, it's something when we see it, we want it. I wonder if we still view the kingdom of heaven like treasure today. I know that when I first became a Christian, the gospel was astounding and my salvation was amazing, and I was just super on fire for the Lord, as we like to say. But if you've walked with the Lord for a while, you know that some of those emotions can start to flatten, and we go through times in which we really don't have a lot of emotional zeal for the Lord and for the kingdom of heaven. And this parable calls us back to remembering that the kingdom of heaven is not just some doctrinal belief about what happens next. It's not just some truth that we hold to because we're Christians. It's not just something that we find in the Bible. It is a reality. Listen to that. The kingdom of heaven is a reality, and a greater reality than the world that we currently live in. And it's like treasure. And when a man found it, he covered it up, and in his joy. And so we ask the question, does thinking about the kingdom of heaven, does that fill you with joy? Do you find joy to go be a citizen of the kingdom of heaven? Do you find joy to live for your kingdom, for your king? I find that I run into folks often, and I feel it myself at times, where living the Christian life is just something that we have to do. It's sometimes viewed as more of a drudgery than a joy. It's viewed more as a set of rules rather than a book that leads us to joy and happiness and to understanding how life was designed to be lived. Does the kingdom of heaven fill you with joy? Does it bring you joy to know that you have it and that you hold it? And so this man, when he finds the treasure in the field, he covers it up, and in his joy he goes and he sells all that he has and he buys that field. And so a misunderstanding of this parable would be to tell you that you need to sell your house and live in a tent, that you can't have any savings, that you can't plan for retirement, that a car is too much. That would be a misinterpretation of this parable. A right interpretation of this parable is to say that when you find the value of the kingdom of heaven, you're willing to sacrifice anything for it. You will give up anything for it. Jesus goes as far to say you will give up your own family for it. Not that Jesus is anti-family. We know that that's definitely not the case. But he's saying that the value of the kingdom of heaven, the value of Christ himself, has to be so exceedingly beyond anything of this world, that we would sacrifice and we would gladly and joyfully give up and sell and rid ourselves of anything of this world to behold the kingdom. And so we find ourselves with the third point of reflection in this parable. Do you value the kingdom of heaven to that degree? Or are there things that you would hold on to and you would give up the kingdom of heaven for? I'll give up Christianity if I can just keep this in my life. That's a tough question, because most of us, we wouldn't say it out loud. But spend some time and ask your heart, are there things in your life that you truly value and prioritize and appraise above Jesus Christ and his kingdom? And if those things are there, then you have a place to go to prayer and to say, Lord, bring me joy at your kingdom. Lord, restore to me the zeal that maybe I once had for you. One of the ways that we can find out how much we value the kingdom of heaven is by looking at how closely we're willing to live as citizens of the kingdom of heaven. So do you find yourself with joy in seeing what God has for you in the scriptures and how he's called you and designed you and wired you to live as people of his kingdom? And are you willing to do it despite what other people might say, despite the sacrifices that it might mean in this short time period on earth? Will you live for the King? So spend some time, think about that. Ask these hard questions. This is a one-verse parable, but it hits with a lot of power. And so reflect on it. Repent if you need to repent. Find joy if you just need to find joy. And see that the kingdom of heaven is so beautiful and so valuable beyond all else. And may it bring you joy today. God bless.